Welcome to the third segment of how to complete a title search called the Search of the Grantor Index. Once you've collected all of the deeds in your chain of title, you must then search the name of each owner in the Grantor Index for the period of time that they own the property, plus an additional 5 years for tax takings made by the city or town because the owner failed to pay his or her taxes. So if you're using the registry website, you must search each owner in the Name tab for the period of time that they own the property plus the additional 5 years. So what I do is I take a blank sheet of paper, I put it down beside the computer, and I write down every entry that I see under that owner's name that affects my locus or property, which means the street address of the property that we're talking about. You must include any entry that either has the actual property referenced under locus, or it has nothing, meaning it left it blank over here, or the entry means nothing to you, or you can't sort of connect it up or identify what it has to do with. So anyway, I find it easier to write the names of all of the co-owners that owned during the same period of time on one sheet of paper, and then write all the entries that affects locus in chronological order below the names. And this way here I only write the entry once, even though I may see it under multiple co-owners. Then I have to look at each entry that I pick up by clicking on the icon all the way over here in the left to see what it is, how it affects the property. As you'll see, as you search the Grantor Index, you'll see all different types of documents recorded, but you'll see deeds and mortgages most frequently. When mortgages are paid off, the lender issues a discharge which releases the mortgage lien from the property, and this discharge is recorded as well, and you'll see it right here. It says dis. And so when I write down my mortgages, if there's a discharge that's recorded, I put the discharge on my sheet of paper all the way over to the right of the entry, the mortgage entry. So it's all on one line, if you will, if you were using white lined paper. And if there's no discharge, I would then mark that encumbrance or lien or mortgage as outstanding, so I'd know which mortgages or which liens have no discharge of record. And you also have to look at each discharge to see that it correctly mentions the book and page of the mortgage, that it's signed by an officer, and has language that indicates that the mortgage is paid, which is typically the words acknowledges satisfaction of the same. You'll also see these things called MLs or municipal liens, and these documents are recorded frequently, and they have value, but for title purposes, they're really not essential. So you can disregard them in creating your list of entries that you need to pay attention to. So you could disregard this municipal lien certificate, that municipal lien certificate, and what you really need to pay attention to are the deeds, the mortgages, these financing statements, which are other liens, and then these discharges, just so you can see which liens have already been satisfied. Once you've determined which liens are outstanding and which liens are satisfied, you make copies of outstanding liens. With mortgages, you only need to make a copy of the front page, the signature page, and the legal description page. And the copies of these deeds that you did under your earlier tutorial, copies of your outstanding liens, encumbrances, and mortgages, and that handwritten sheet that you've created, make up your title search. That is your entire title search. So this concludes this segment called Search of the Grantor Index. In the next one, next tutorial called Rundown of an Owner, I'm going to actually do the rundown of the property while it was in the hands of the McCuskers, and show you how I add that entry on my sheet of paper. So this concludes this, and if you have more time, watch the Rundown of an Owner tutorial.